There are many ideologies in Speaker's Corner, but it could be said that some of them are worse than any of the bad ones are. Welcome to Wasteman Corner Crash Course, and today we're going to be talking about self-destructive ideologies. Now you might be wondering, self-destructive ideologies, well, that's unbelievably subjective. Beg to differ. I can prove you that the ideologies I'm going to speak about now are unbelievably self-destructive. And I'm going to tell you about them, and I'm going to tell you also how to deal with people like these in Speaker's Corner. So, what are these self-destructive ideologies? One of them, and the main one, is antinatalism, which by definition is self-destructive. You want to not reproduce, and thus you want to stop humanity. Simple as that. There aren't too many antinatalists in the park. I've seen one main guy and a few people who share some of his beliefs about humanity needing to reproduce less and whatever. And all of this comes very linked to the Extinction Rebellion mumbo-jumbo, which I don't think anybody should give any trust towards. Whether you believe in global warming or not doesn't matter for this, because it's a fact that to a certain extent global warming is happening. Now, whether it's happening because of humans or not, that is the main question. And that's not the only question. If it's happening because of humans, what should we do to stop it? One thing we definitely should not do is to stop reproducing and erase humanity. And you might be surprised, but many Extinction Rebellion people actually think that humans are a plague and should be erased, which is quite a funny thing to say. But they're not the only ones, you know. Not only the antinatalists and some very extreme Extinction Rebellion people want to have humanity erased. Many of the vegans have a very similar idea. And not only the vegans, but also the pro-abortionists. Now, abortion is one of the things that I'm the most passionate against. Because abortion is, in the most literal of senses, the murder of children, with the excuse that they are not yet children before they leave the mother's womb. Now, there's this popular argument that my body, my rules, I have the child, I'm the woman, I have the child, I have the choice to kill the child or to let the child live. First of all, that argument is complete and utter baloney, because without the father there is no child. And just because the child is inside of the mother doesn't mean the child is her property. We can't think that way. It's simply a ridiculous thing to say. But that's not the only way abortions happen. Abortions sometimes also happen because of the father, because he pressures the mother into doing the abortion. There are many different kinds of abortion, but overall I would be against them, unless it's directly threatening the mother's life or out of rape. It's, she got raped, she's having a child from the rapist, and she wants to do an abortion. In those cases it can be discussed. But it can be, we can discuss whether or not she should do the abortion or not. Now, in the cases of simply, not bothering with having a kid, seeing a child as a burden, I don't think there can be much discussion about that. It's simply ridiculous. You see, a society that treats children as lumps of meat, as expendable parasites that are chipping off on their parents' happiness, has its days counted, because simple as that, a society like that will not reproduce. They will not have kids, they will not replenish their numbers, and thus they will inevitably be overtaken by other societies. For better or for worse, honestly. Because when people come to that extent that they don't want to reproduce, it's almost a lost cause at that point. It's almost a lost cause. Do you really want people like those in a society? I don't know. If you can change their mind, yeah, definitely. But if you can't change their mind, well, they're kind of erasing themselves. What can you do about it? Force them to have children. Ridiculous. Now, let's come again to the vegans. Now, I had a conversation with a specific vegan from the park, and ironically enough, after that conversation, he stopped coming to the park, about children and about abortion. And what he said disturbed me quite a lot. He said that a fetus, an early fetus, killing it is the same as cutting a slice of beef, because it's only a piece of meat. it's not a human yet. Now, he has a point to a certain extent, because it doesn't have most of the qualities of a human. But the potential of a fetus is already there. It's already becoming a human, and it's an inevitable process, unless, of course, you kill it, or it dies by itself, which is also sometimes possible, but it's rare, especially in countries with good medicine, with good medical care. Now, if you think that way, if you think that killing a potential human is not killing a human at all because it doesn't have all the qualities of a human yet, again, it's a very dysfunctional idea. Because in a society like that will not replenish themselves. They will be eradicated. It's as simple as that. They will not be able to reproduce. For example, monks in the Middle Ages, they would sometimes have illegitimate children, yes, but that's one of the main criticisms I would give to Christianity. Monks were supposed to remain celibate, and that's no good. Because if you remain celibate, you're erased from the gene pool. You no longer can have children. The purpose of life is to spread or die. Is to grow or die, basically. As simple as that. And if you don't grow, if you don't reproduce, if you don't have children, if humanity doesn't keep procreating, humanity will die. It's as simple as that. Now, you can say, oh, the purpose of humanity is honor, glory, it's benevolence, it's being nice to each other, it's being good. But none of that exists if there is no life. So life is also the prerequisite to whatever meaning you are looking for in that same life. Because, again, without life you can't achieve any of that because you're dead. It's a funny thing to see it. So many people defending abortion when none of those people have been aborted. It's a funny coincidence, isn't it, that none of the people who have been aborted are supporting abortion, because again, they didn't have a choice in the matter. They just simply got killed by their parents for whatever reason that was. These ideologies, for me personally, are one of the biggest threats if they are allowed to spread. Another one of them, I would say, is flat earth theory. And I have a personal theory about flat earth theory, which is it might be a social experiment made to see just how far a completely preposterous and idiotic idea can go. Because we have more than enough proof that flat earth theory is not a thing. We can check it out even for ourselves. We can do considerable research and there's considerable scientific proof, like the Coriolis effect, for example, or the phases of the moon, or the phases of the sun, or whatever. You can go for many different things, many different proof. And there's videos on YouTube of me talking to flat earthers. You can watch those too. Honestly, I'd recommend you to watch some debunking videos of flat earthers. Not even mine, because of course I'm just talking to them. I'm not. I don't have a sheet of paper in front of me with the specific things that I want to talk about, usually at least. So they will be more detailed, those debunking videos. But it's a very dysfunctional belief because it brings people to a very bad place. As you know, I don't see any knowledge as an absolute. And some people actually ask me this, which is a pretty ridiculous question. Do you see the knowledge, that no knowledge is absolute, as an absolute? Well, no, because I accept that I don't have all the knowledge necessary to know even the knowledge, even the premise that no knowledge is absolute. I can't say that it's an absolute because I don't have enough knowledge to say that. It's a point from a self-accepted point of ignorance. I know that I don't know everything. You know what I mean? So let's keep on going. Flat Earth theory, veganism, Extinction Rebellion, antinatalism, abortion. These are some of the worst ideologies you can have in the world. No joke. No joke. It's worse than almost anything that I will be discussing in this channel, because it destroys yourself. Socialism is a very self-destructive ideology, but it lies, it deceives, and it tries to lure people in by saying, oh, you'll live in peace, you'll live a great life, you'll be great. No, it will destroy you. These ones, they don't even lie about it, they just flat out say, you are a disease, you deserve to die, you are scum. that humanity is a virus. That is what these people are saying. Stay away from them. Don't follow their ideologies, because they are rotten to the core, and they are self-destructive and suicidal. Simple as that. Now, should you speak to them in the park? I just said stay away from them. Well, I mean stay away from the ideology itself, not necessarily from just talking to them. You should talk to everyone, but just be very wary of these ideas. It depends from person to person. Again, the Extinction Rebellion people, there's almost none left in the park. I guess it's not part of the trend anymore, thank God for that. Antinatalism, there's only one guy. He speaks a bunch of baloney. Everybody keeps making fun of him, so I don't think he'll have a lot of success. So you can speak to him if you want a little laugh. Flat Earthers, basically same thing. Although there are some numbers of them, and they are, even though very slowly, growing in their number. So yeah, that is a little bit worrying, I would say. Vegans, it's still a relatively popular movement nowadays. Not all of the vegans have a very self-destructive demeanor. But the very idea of being a vegan, of not eating meat, which is a necessity for humans as omnivorous animals, it's self-destructive already from the very beginning, just to be nice to animals. It's a good thing. It would be a good thing if the animals that are being killed for food would not be treated so badly, if they wouldn't have so much suffering, if they would be killed cleanly. You know what I mean? But not killing animals is ridiculous. And one of the reasons of that is, what are you going to do with all the animals, with all the farm animals, if you just stop eating them now? Vegans don't really have an answer. Some of them say castrate them, sterilize them. Well, in that case, it's the same as killing them, except, killing them with old age and not with just murder. Plus, who's going to pay for all of that? Where are you going to get the funds to take care of those useless animals for the rest of their life? Some say, let them go, just let them into the wild. That's the biggest insanity I've ever heard in my life. You're going to let a stampede of animals just run over all ecosystems. It's going to be a disaster, a planetary level disaster if you do that. So basically, you can talk to these people, but keep in mind that they are clinically insane. They are literally proposing something that will kill yourself, that will destroy you as a person. So stay tuned next time, and we're going to be discussing, I'll let it be a surprise. See ya.